youtube.com/user/capital S lowercase p capital S lowercase PORTS capital C lowercase ORNER youtube.com/user/SpSportsCorner. Make sure to tune in and subscribe now. The SP Show. Everything sports related and a bit more. And we are back with the SP Show. So, what we're going to talk about now is just the NBA. It's been crazy as well lately. You have the Thunder defeating the Lakers in LA. Russell Westbrook, he's amazing. You know, he's a very solid point guard. They also added Derek Fisher a while ago from the Lakers. And, yeah, he did come back home now to visit the Lakers, and of course he got a standing ovation. But Westbrook, he just helped the Oklahoma City over the Lakers for their 5th straight win. It's just crazy. You know, the Thunder are amazing now. They're a very solid young team. Now in the East, in Miami, the Heat dropped the defending champs, the Dallas Mavericks. That is the first rematch since the NBA Finals. So now the Heat have a very impressive and sweet streak, 15 straight home victories. That's incredible. You know, the Heat they're an up and down team. They're just not solid. They're not like the Thunder. They're just like the Mavericks, like the Celtics, like the Knicks are improving, but like the recent Knicks, not these last days, but like the recent Knicks. I mean, like last month when Mike D'Antoni was still there. You know, those Knicks, because Mike Woodson is doing an amazing job with the Knicks. You know, he was pretty good with the Hawks. He just never really solid. So it's just crazy. So let's just sort of analyze the games from yesterday now. So you have the Pacers defeating the Trailblazers. That was a pretty good win for the Pacers. Sorry about that. I meant the Pacers defeating the Wizards. They won 73-89. That was a very good game. Very good win for the Pacers. Danny Granger scored 25, and he just helped them out, you know, because now they have a 30-20 record, and they gave their coach Frank Vogel his 50th career victory, which is not bad, you know. And then Jordan Crawford from the Wizards, he scored 20 points, but that wasn't enough. Because now the Wizards are now 11-39. Now, quoted from Indiana guard George Hill, he says, "We knew what we had to do. We knew that we blew one last night, and we can't let that happen at home." So he's recognizing that they just blew it. They just missed that opportunity. You know? So they just blew that opportunity when they just lost to the Nets. That's what he's talking about, when they lost to the Nets. But before that, they had defeated the Heat by 15. So they're just saying that they blew an easy win over the Nets. That's what he's saying. So they won, lost, win. So they lost to the Heat. No, actually they beat the Heat, lost to the Nets, and beat the Wizards. And then, as I said, Crawford scored 20 points for the 7th consecutive game. Longest active streak in the league. In 4 of those 7 games, he scored exactly 20 points. That's crazy. So, the Wizards, they used an 11-1 run starting the 3rd quarter to take a 60-53 lead, and were up 68-60 late in the period. But then Granger hit a 3-pointer to give them a 14-1 run that put the Pacers in front, 74-69 early in the 4th. But then the Wizards tied on a Crawford steal and dunk at 80 with 4:54 left. But then Roy Hibbert scored 5 in a 7-2 run, which included a 3-point play that made the score 87-82 with 2:48 left in the game. Then Crawford hit a 3-pointer to cut the Pacers' lead to 2. Wizards had the ball with a chance to at least tie in the final minute. The backcourt violation costed them possession with 22.9 seconds left. Pacers then sealed it at the line. We have a second quote from Indiana forward David West. He says, "They played a little harder than we did. We've got to come and be prepared to play well every night, every game. Every game is very important to us now, and we must get out there and get the job done every night." Now, Granger, he did a pretty good job last night. He was 3 out of 5 from the 3-point line and 8 of 15 overall. He made all 6 of his free throws and added 7 rebounds to his game-high 25 points. And then Hill hit his first 3 shots and finished 4 of 7 for 14 points off the bench. While Wizards player acquired from the Nuggets in a trade that sent Nick Young to the Clippers and JaVale McGee to the Nuggets, Nene, he had 16 points and 13 rebounds for the Wizards. He's still a solid player, even though the Wizards still stink. I'm not saying he's just gonna, out of nowhere, magically make the Wizards a contender for the playoffs. It's too late now, you know. But from the playoffs, the Bobcats are already eliminated. Now, players that struggled last night were Indiana's starting guards, Darren Collison and Paul George. They combined to shoot 4 of 16. We have another quote number 3, from Wizards coach Randy Whitman. "You have to make simple plays down the stretch. It might sound trivial or fundamental, but it has to be the easiest play you can make down the stretch. And if it's not, then you can't take the chance. They're busting their tails and playing hard. We just have to break through the barrier." So they just have to get past the obstacles. They have way too many obstacles in their way, and they just can't win games. They are struggling. Out of 50 games, they only won 11. That is horrendous. They have to start winning games. So it's just crazy. But a good move was that Hibbert, he wasn't a factor for most of the game, especially because he was in foul trouble, and in part to their aggressive post-double teams. Vogel, the Pacers coach, brought his center in with the game tied and 6.5 minutes remaining. Hibbert scored twice on post-ups and converted an and one to put the Pacers up 87-82. That was a good move by the Pacers. And then a bad move was by the Wizards that they got a break late in the game when a replay review went their way. Even though it appeared that Chris Singleton stepped out of bounds before saving the ball inbounds. Given the valuable second chance and trailing by 2, John Wall was cut off on a drive and tried to kick out to Nene, just as the big man was cutting toward the lane. The ball rolled into the backcourt for a turnover with 22.9 seconds left. So that is just insane. Just reading this off of the NBA.com article, it's just crazy. You know, it's insane. can't believe they just blew that. What did they lose by? By like 4 points? They lost by 4 points. That is just insane. They could have won this. Come on, Washington. You can do better. You can do better. Come on. Now, something incredible, something to have in mind. Indiana improved to 16-7 at home, while Washington dropped to 5-20 on the road. The Wizards are 9-24 since Whitman replaced Flip Saunders, while the Pacers improved to 24-2 when leading after 3 periods. Having concluded a stretch of 6 games and 8 nights, the Pacers finally get 1 day off, then enter another stretch of 6 games and 8 nights. So, one of their players, David West, tweaked the injured pinky finger on his left hand in the final minute of the game, while Trevor Booker, who missed Washington's last game with tendonitis in his right knee, was back in the starting lineup. The game was a homecoming for Whitman, who grew up in Indianapolis. He starred at Ben Davis High School and the University of Indiana, finished his playing career, and launched his coaching career with the Pacers. He had several family members, including his daughter, a student at Indiana University, in the crowd. It also was a homecoming of sorts for rookie guard Shelvin Mack, who played at Butler University, helping the Bulldogs reach consecutive NCAA championship games. So this game was sort of notable, but not really. I mean, both teams aren't really solid. The Pacers did improve from last season. They are still among the top best teams in the East, but they're not solid, you know. So the next few games for the Pacers, to be exact, the next 3 games are tomorrow, Saturday, at San Antonio against the Spurs, then Sunday at Houston against the Rockets, and then Tuesday at home against the Knicks. While the Wizards have today against the 76ers, they have Sunday at Toronto against the Raptors, and then Monday against the Bucks at home in Indiana. So they both have sort of tough games. I mean, the Pacers have competitive games. They play the Spurs, they play the Rockets, they play the Knicks. It's all sort of leveled up. Of course, the Rockets slightly better, Spurs slightly better. The Knicks, I think, are slightly better than the Pacers, I believe, because of their roster. On paper, the Knicks are better. Now, while the Wizards, against the 76ers, that's going to be a struggle. Against the Raptors, easy win. You can't lose this. And then Monday, at home against the Bucks, I mean, that's leveled up, but the Bucks are still better. So, that's how it looks like for these teams in the near future. So, in the game stats, in field goal percentage, the Wizards actually defeated the Pacers 42.3% to 39.2%. In the three-pointers, the Pacers won 37.5 to 31.8. And then in free throws, the Pacers won 78.1 to 64%. Washington, total rebounds 45, beat the Pacers to 40. In offensive rebounds, Washington won 15 to 10. Turnovers, Washington won 17 to 7. Fast break points, Washington won 16 to 14. Biggest lead, Washington won by having the biggest lead of 8, while Indiana had the biggest lead of 7. Points in the paint, Washington won 38 to 32. So, looking at these game stats, in all 6 categories, Washington won all 6 of them. Just slightly, but they won all 6 categories. Washington had this game in the bag. There was no excuse to lose this, you know. But they just blew it. They just blew it. Now, player stats. They had highest player points performance. In Washington was Crawford with 20, and Indiana had Granger with 25. Rebounds, Nene had 13, and West had 8 for the Pacers. In assists, Shelvin Mack had 4 for Washington, and Collison had 7 for Indiana. Steals, John Wall had 2 for the Wizards, and Paul George had 4 for the Pacers. In blocks, Seraphin had 3 for the Washington Wizards, and 2 other players had 2 blocks.